This weather is so perfect for this video actually, like I'm so excited. What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel, and to all the new viewers, thank you so much for stopping by. Today marks the start of something I'm so excited about. That is the very first mystery week on this channel. If everything goes well and according to plan, then I want to post a brand new video every single day this week. So fingers crossed, fingers crossed. If it doesn't work out, then I'll post every other day, or I'll just post from Monday to Friday, but you're definitely gonna get more than one video this week. And since we're here as well, after you've subscribed, please give this video a thumbs up. It'll really motivate me to keep on posting and to do more of these videos. Let me know if you want me to do more mystery weeks on this channel. It's been a lot of hard work, it's been a lot of stress, a lot of sweat and tears, a lot of tears have gone into this week, but you deserve it. By the way, it is raining right now. There's like a huge thunderstorm, lightning storm. That's why I had to change out of a red t-shirt because I don't want to get struck by lightning. If you hear any of that in the background, it's just setting the mood for mystery week, guys. After that very long introduction, without any further delay, let's go ahead and start talking about our first mystery of the week, and that is the case of Zephany nurse. This is actually a solved case, but technically it's still a mystery. As much as it's a solved case, the public does not know the true identity of the perpetrator, and also Zephany's true identity is also protected under court order. And just like all my other true crime videos, by making this video, I mean absolutely no disrespect to any of the families or the victims that were affected by this case. This is just for educational purposes, to give you guys more information about this case and to also share the story. So this right here is Celeste and Zephany nurse. Zephany being the newborn baby that was born to young parents Monet and Celeste nurse on the 28th of April 1997 at the Groote Schuur Hospital in Cape Town. This is pretty much the only photo, well, it's one of the only photos that the family had of Zephany. It's the only photo that Celeste and Zephany had together before the tragic event that took place. 2 days after the birth of Zephany, which happens to be exactly 22 years ago to this day, on the 30th of April 1997, Celeste was in her hospital room with the newborn baby Zephany. She was drifting in and out of consciousness. She had just given birth, which is obviously quite taxing, when she noticed that there was a lady in a nurse's uniform in the room standing over Zephany's cot. The nurse was making conversation with Celeste, comforting her, asking about the baby, and eventually Celeste fell asleep. A couple of hours later, Celeste wakes up and now there's a different nurse in the room. I get that this story might get a little bit confusing because it's happening in a hospital where there's nurses, and then the surname of the family that I'm talking about is also nurse. But anytime that I say nurse, I'm referring to the hospital staff. And then for the family, I'll just use their first names unless I state otherwise. But yeah, just to clear up any confusion, when I speak about nurse, I'm talking about the hospital staff nurses and not the actual nurse family. A couple of hours later, Celeste wakes up and now there's a different nurse in the room. The nurse is frantic. She's asking Celeste, where's the baby? What happened to the baby? Did the family take the baby? Because the nurse can't find the baby. And Celeste is obviously confused because when she fell asleep, the baby was in the cot and there was a nurse tending to the baby, so the baby should still be there. But the baby wasn't in the cot. And it didn't take long for Celeste to realize that the other nurse had most likely taken her baby. So the hospital staff started searching the hospital. They were searching all the different rooms, all the different cots, trying to find this baby. They contacted police to help with the search efforts as well. When the police arrived, they were questioning all the mothers in the ward, asking them questions, asking if they had noticed anyone suspicious in the area, if they'd seen anything weird, if anything weird had happened to them. Just doing anything and everything to try and find baby Zephany. In the search, a couple of items were recovered. A baby nest, baby garments, as well as an empty handbag. One other item was also found in a tunnel that had direct access to the maternity ward. This tunnel led from the street outside directly into the maternity ward. It also had access to the psychiatric ward of the hospital. This tunnel was obviously for mothers in labor so that they wouldn't have to go through the whole hospital in order to get to the maternity ward, just to make delivery safer and easier for the mothers. And this item that was found in this tunnel was a pillow. So I'm sure you can gather that the first nurse who was in the hospital room with Celeste while she was falling asleep was probably not a real nurse, and she was the most likely suspect. She used the pillow that they found in the tunnel to fake a pregnancy and gain access to the maternity ward, because no one's gonna question a pregnant woman walking into a maternity ward. Once she had gained access to the ward, she disguised herself as a nurse by wearing maroon colored pants and a beige top. According to one of the new mothers that were questioned, this mother spoke to and also saw the face of the suspect. The suspect had also entered her room, and she was talking to the mother, making conversation, and then at some point the mother left the room to go to the bathroom or something like that. And when the mother returned, this nurse had picked up her baby, and when the mother asked, "Why are you holding my baby?" this lady responded that the baby had been crying and she was comforting the baby. This is just so sus to me. It just shows that this lady didn't even care which baby she took. She had one goal, and that goal was to leave with a baby on that day. She didn't care whose child it was. She didn't care if it was a boy, if it was a girl. She didn't care the race of the baby. As long as she was walking out of that hospital with a baby, she didn't care. 5 days after Monet and Celeste welcomed their first child into the world, they left Groote Schuur Hospital without a baby.
It's a case that has drawn international attention. A baby snatched at birth from hospital. Celeste and Monet Nurse's 3-day-old baby was snatched from hospital in 1997. A massive manhunt for the kidnapper and the baby was launched, but produced nothing.
This case absolutely blew up. It was national news, it was international news. If it happened today, it would definitely be trending all over social media. It was huge. Everybody knew the story of Zephany Nurse. Everybody knew about the Nurse family. While this was all happening, my mother was actually pregnant with my twin sister and I. She actually gave birth to us a week after Zephany's kidnapping on her own birthday. So yeah, my mom, my sister and I, all three of us, we share the same birthday. Fortunately, my mom's support system prevented her from seeing the news so that she wouldn't be stressed out about her own children being kidnapped. So if like the story was being broadcast on the news and my mom walked into the room, they would quickly change the channel. Or if people were talking about it and my mom walked into the room, they would change the subject. Anyway, every year since Zephany's disappearance, on the 28th of April, her family celebrates her birthday to keep her search alive and to keep her name in the media. Celeste has also spoken out about other child kidnapping. She's been very vocal throughout the years, offering support to families and giving advice and just being a supportive person in her own community. A few weeks after Zephany's kidnapping, a woman whose neighbors never noticed a pregnancy reported her to police, and the woman was investigated. The woman had a newborn baby that looked almost exactly like Zephany. Like, this baby had such a striking resemblance to Zephany that the police felt that they needed to investigate further. But unfortunately for the Nurse family, and fortunately for this woman, the baby turned out to actually be a boy. So as much as the baby looked like Zephany, it wasn't Zephany, and the search for Zephany continued. In July of 2009, after 12 years of no new leads, no new suspects, basically no progress on the case, the Nurse family received a phone call. On this phone call, the woman claimed to know where Zephany was and who she was with. And this woman on the phone demanded that 500,000 rand be delivered at an undisclosed location and that police also not be notified. Immediately after getting off the phone with this woman, the Nurse family contacted police and the undisclosed prearranged location was monitored. But no one ever arrived to collect the money. Eventually, the phone call was traced, and it was traced to a woman by the name of Glenda Double. I'll just call her Glenda Double. So Double was actually Zephany's maternal grandmother's neighbor. So she was Celeste's mom's neighbor. And she had obviously heard about the case, and she knew how desperate the family was to get Zephany back. And she used the family's desperation to her own advantage. Well, she attempted to use the family's desperation to her own advantage. Double was eventually charged and convicted of extortion. She was sentenced to 3 years of house arrest. She was ordered to pay a 5,000 Rand fine, and she also had to serve 600 hours of community service. After Zephany, the nurse family did have other children. I think there was 4 children in total, including Zephany. So I'm gonna need you to buckle your seatbelts, because the next part of the story is about to get so wild and so absolutely crazy. It's insane. So one of the children that they had was 4 years younger than Zephany, and in 2015 she was starting high school, and her parents decided at the last minute to send her to a different school than what they had originally planned. When she got there, she met a girl who was in matric, and they became friends. But this girl's friends, as well as Zephany's younger sister's friends, kept telling the girls how much they looked alike and that they looked like sisters. So one day, Zephany's younger sister told her father, Monet, "Hey dad, there's this girl at my school, everybody says that we look the same." And the younger children knew about Zephany because obviously they were celebrating her birthday every single year, so they always knew that somewhere in the world they have an older sister who was kidnapped as a baby. The search for her has never ever ended. The family always held hope that Zephany would be found alive one day. So she told her dad about this and said, "Maybe this girl is my sister." And the dad, who also had never given up hope, he arranged to meet the girls together.
The nurses had 3 more children, but there was always a hole in their hearts. Every year they celebrated the birthday of their missing daughter. Then 17 years on, their second daughter, Cassidy, began high school and made a remarkable discovery.
Cassidy came home and she told me, "Daddy, there's a girl at school that resembles me completely." So I made it my duty to meet this girl.
He even managed to take a few photographs, and the resemblance was uncanny.
He contacted authorities, which was the Hawks at the time. I don't know if they're still called the Hawks. Are they still called the Hawks? They used to be called the Scorpions, actually. But yeah, at that time they were now called the Hawks. So he contacted the Hawks, and the Hawks did an investigation. They did DNA testing, and this girl that was in matric was Zephany Nurse. After 17 years of searching, after 17 years of having absolutely no idea where their daughter was, the younger daughter ended up finding her older sister because the family decided to take her to the same school. Crazy. So during the course of the investigation, Zephany's new family was questioned. When police were investigating Zephany's new family, the mother gave a very strange story to police. This lady is known in the media as Mrs. X, and because Zephany's identity is protected, her mother's identity must also now be protected to prevent us from knowing who Zephany is. So Mrs. X told police that on the 30th of April in 1997, a woman by the name of Sylvia approached her at a train station and gave her adoption papers to adopt a baby. When the police asked where these adoption papers were, she couldn't produce the papers. Then she said that this lady had literally just handed her a baby, and because she had suffered multiple miscarriages and she really wanted a baby, she didn't think anything of it, and she just took the baby home and raised the baby as her own.
When the DNA showed she's not our daughter, it was a big load off on my shoulder. Because I was always wondering, where's the parents, whose child is this? But then I thank the Lord that she was found by her biological parents. She knows who they are. And I will just ask them That is the past. She's alive. She's well. She's educated. She's been loved. And we raised her with the hand of the Lord. Stop living the past. It will become family together for her part, for her side of life.
You're standing by your story that somebody gave you the baby. You didn't kidnap her.
Yes, I didn't kidnap.
I have a lot of questions. This story was pretty big. Everybody knew the story. So if a random lady at a train station hands you a newborn baby, and on the news everybody knows that a newborn baby has been kidnapped, why would you not immediately contact police? Why would your first port of call be, you know what I should do? I should take this newborn baby that I don't know where they came from, and I know that there's a child that's been kidnapped. I'm gonna take this baby and raise it as my own. I'm not sure if I can believe her claim that somebody walked up to her at a busy train station, handed over a baby, made her sign adoption papers, and everything was legal and fine. Doesn't make sense to me. Didn't make sense to police, so they arrested her. Another person that was questioned about this was Mrs. X's husband. And Mrs. X's husband completely stood by his wife throughout everything, from the moment she was suspected all the way through the trial to this day. He still believes that his wife is innocent. He says that his wife came home one day and said to him that a lady had given her a baby at the train station and that they now had a newborn baby to raise. And he didn't question his wife about this. He was just like, okay, we have a newborn baby now. We're a happy family. Let's carry on.
As the man who brought Zephany up from a baby, how did you feel when you heard the news that she wasn't your child?
Like I said, I was devastated. I was broken. I was confused. I was lost. I didn't want to believe it. I couldn't be. She was my child. She is my child. That's a word. She is my child.
How's your relationship now with the lady who you've lived with and you believed was Zephany's mum, the accused?
She's my wife. I must take care of her. I must take care of my daughter. And they're in my heart, and I will always take care of both of them. All my children, I'll take care of them.
If I was this lady's husband, I'd be asking a lot of questions, because I'd be not only suspicious of where she got this baby, I'd be suspicious of, like, maybe this is another man's child, which it is another man's child, but maybe this is the lady's baby and my wife is unfaithful to me. I just have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions for this lady. If I was her husband, I would be interrogating her so much. Her trial began in 2016. She was charged with kidnapping, fraud, and contravening the Children's Act. Zephany herself testified at the trial, as well as her original family, her biological family, Monet and Celeste. I can only imagine how traumatic that was, having to relive the day of that kidnapping. In fact, I can only imagine how traumatic it was for them to have other children, because every time you have another child, you still have that fear that what if what happened to Zephany happens to this child, and it's a horrible thing to think about. Celeste has actually been such an amazing, well, in my opinion, Celeste has been so strong throughout all of this. She even thanked Mrs. X for all that she did to raise Zephany, for giving Zephany a normal life, because Zephany lived a normal life.
The news came as a shock to those close to the accused, who describe her as an attentive and loving mother.
She was pleased. She had everything. She never missed out on anything. She had parties. She had
from everything.
There was no lack of anything.
All this time, she thought that Mrs. X was her biological mother. She had grandparents, she had cousins, uncles, aunts, also questioning the cousins, uncles, aunts, and grandparents, because you know that this lady was never pregnant. You guys never threw a baby shower for this lady. She never spoke about adopting a child to you guys, and you all knew that there was a missing baby somewhere in Cape Town, but you just all accepted that one of your family members now has a brand new baby in the same time frame that a baby was kidnapped. So after all of this happened, Zephany actually dropped out of school for a little bit because of all the trauma that she had to go through. She was in her matric year, which is your final year of high school. So for this to be happening in your matric year, wow. She unfortunately wasn't able to then write her matric prelims and finals, so she couldn't matriculate with her class. But she did end up matriculating about a year later, after she had received some counseling and all of that. She's even written a letter to her adopted mother, to Mrs. X, basically saying that she misses her, and it's really sad. It's such a heartbreaking case. I'm really glad that Zephany's biological family are at peace now, knowing that their child is alive and that she was taken care of. She didn't grow up in an abusive home, or as far as we know, she didn't grow up in an abusive home. She had caring and loving parents. I'm glad that they have that sense of comfort. I just hope that whatever comes of this, it's for the best for both Zephany and her biological family. I hope that one day they can have a relationship. Both families. I hope that one day both families can have a good relationship and all can be forgiven if it needs to be forgiven. Obviously, it's not my place to say who should forgive who and what should happen. At the end of the day, what Mrs. X did was a crime, a big crime, a huge crime. She stole a baby from someone's firstborn child. Zephany actually now has a child of her own. After all of this, after the trial and everything, Mrs. X was convicted and she was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. And after that, Zephany actually decided to live with her adoptive family. So she's not living with her biological family. Her biological family has attempted to sort of form a relationship with her, but I'm sure you can imagine it's difficult that the people that are your flesh and blood are also the people that caused who you thought was your mother to be in prison for 10 years. It's a very difficult subject, so I don't want to add too much of my own opinions to this. She's also spoken out about other child kidnappings. She spoke to the mother of a girl named Courtney who was kidnapped and murdered, sort of comforting her mother as well. Like I said, she is a mother herself now, and what she said is that now that she's a mother, she sort of has a better understanding of how her own biological mother felt when she was taken. She says that the grass isn't always greener on the other side, and if people knew the truth, they would understand. In 2018, she released a statement that she is working on a book about her life as well as a documentary. So I will keep you updated on that. I'm really excited to see what that is about. I'll definitely be reading the book. I really want to see what it's all about. I think that brings us to the end of our first case of Mystery Week. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more from me for Mystery Week, make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of the videos coming to you this week, and also click on that notification bell as well. Follow me on social media so you can get updates on whether I'll be posting every single day, every other day, or just Monday to Friday. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for checking out my channel, and to all the new viewers, thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.